Hi, welcome back to Spire in Minutes. My name is Naletha and I'm here to take you through our today's discussion on sustainable finance in Indonesia. What it is, what are the challenges, as well as opportunities that might just be useful for you. So let's go. So the term sustainable finance might be confusing or even unfamiliar to most of you. What is it actually? According to the European Union, sustainable finance is actually an evolution of the green finance, where it takes into consideration the environmental, social, and governance risks and issues with the aim of increasing long-term investments in order to boost the sustainable economic growth activities as well as projects. Sustainable finance does not only covers or address challenges in the environment, economy, as well as the society sectors, but it also covers the financial and monetary sectors to achieve a better and balanced results between the people, the planet, the profits, the prosperity, as well as a common purpose. Sustainable finance is actually the broadest term among all the other terms, such as the climate finance and the green finance, because sustainable finance actually covers all financing activities that contribute to the sustainable development activities and projects. So why exactly do we need sustainable finance? The answer lies within the term itself, which is sustainability. The rising concerns over environmental issues such as biodiversity loss and climate change has pushed both the public and the private sectors to realign their practices in order to achieve a more sustainable world. And as we all know, one of the ways to address these challenges is to restore our planet's degraded landscapes. However, in order for this restoration to take place, it is estimated that humanity will need to spend 600 to 800 billion US dollar per year, in addition to the 2.5 to 3 billion of the expenses estimated for the Global South to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. With such a huge finance gap, stakeholders coming from both sectors rise to the challenges on addressing the environmental challenges and also achieving the Sustainable Development Goals target. There are actually numerous key sources of funding to support this matter that includes policymakers and financiers, such as corporations, banks, international financial institutions, international organizations, climate funds, national governments, central banks, regulatory authorities, institutional investors, and stock exchanges. The financial instruments used in this matter or in the sustainable finance are equity and debt, with debt consisting of loans and bonds. Sustainable finance has long been advocated and studied by many experts and scholars in Indonesia. However, it was not until recently that it's beginning to be taken seriously by both the government and private sectors, as seen in various media platforms where they began to actively encouraging and participating in various efforts to boost Indonesia's sustainable economic growth as well as green economy in order to support Indonesia's 2030 SDG ambitions. This is proven by Indonesia's active participation in various international events, frameworks, as well as agreements related to sustainable finance, such as the Paris Agreement, the G7 and the G20 Summit, the Just Transition Energy Partnership or the GTEP that is currently being adopted, as well as the Sustainable Finance Roadmap 1 and 2 and the ASEAN Taxonomy for Sustainable Finance. The Indonesian government has been relentlessly pushing the financial services sector to enter the sustainable finance practice. The Indonesia's Financial Services Authority or OJK stated that about 15.4 trillion rupiah of green bond have been issued as the end of 2022. The blended finance framework has also been relatively successful through the collection of 3.26 billion of US dollar by SDG Indonesia One platform by the end of March of 2023 in a form of funding commitment and other facilities that involves active participation from numerous financial institutions in Indonesia. So more progress is shown by the loan disbursements of more than 700 trillion rupiah as green financing, more than 1.20 billion rupiahs for electric vehicles and 28.9 trillion rupiahs for financing the new and renewable energy related projects. The government has also set out 8 principles of Indonesia's sustainable finance as guidance and standards for financiers in Indonesia, namely responsible investment, management of social and environmental risks, informative communications, development of priority sectors, sustainable business strategy and practice, governance, inclusivity and coordination, as well as collaboration. So despite its growing potential, there are at least 5 biggest challenges faced by Indonesia in adopting and implementing the sustainable finance practices. The first is there's a need of huge investment and transformational policies due to Indonesia's limited capacity and resources as a developing country. The second one is that there are barriers that might emerge due to political instability given the upcoming presidential election in 2024, where the change of administration could mean the changing of regulations and policies that might impact the success of sustainable finance-related programs in Indonesia. The third one is that there's a need to balance between the sustainable financing practice and the efforts to address the other existing social issues such as poverty. The fourth one being the low level of awareness on sustainable goals and the sustainable finance among the investors and the public. The last one is there are regulations that are still less binding and even still limited to appeals only, with no incentives nor penalties provided towards the parties who comply and not comply with the ESG and the overall sustainable finance practice. The implementation of sustainable finance in Indonesia is still in its early stages. However, it definitely shows great potential, as consumers, banks, and even the government are showing strong commitment as well as slow but sure changes towards achieving the sustainable development goals. Given the high population and the important role of Indonesia in the global economy, Indonesia is expected to continue grow and even lead ASEAN in implementing sustainable finance and green economy as a whole. However, a realistic plan as well as transparent and consistent effort must be prioritized. So that's about it. I hope this introductory video can be useful for you as an introduction to sustainable finance in Indonesia as well as its practice. Thank you for watching and see you in the next Spire in Minutes video. Bye!